inspection under a new Colorado law led to a disturbing discovery this week. Officials with the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies found several bodies hidden inside a Pueblo County funeral home. The director, who is also the Pueblo County coroner, admitted that some of those bodies had been waiting for cremation for 15 years. According to suspension records, the mortuary has been ordered to cease operations pending proceedings. This was a discovery because of new regulations in Colorado and in the funeral industry, and that's why Steve Steger is joining us now. Unfortunately, two really awful cases led to this.
Yeah, you know, we've covered quite a bit on this. Three, really. If you talk about the Sunset Mesa case on the western slope, the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose, where they found decomposing bodies several years ago. I believe the sentencing for one of those funeral directors is coming up. And then the Miles Harford case here in Denver, where a former funeral director was sent to prison for keeping a woman's body inside of a hearse in his backyard of a home he was renting for a year and a half. So these high-profile cases caused lawmakers last year to pass a bill that would regulate the industry in Colorado. Up to that point, Colorado was the only state that wasn't regulating the funeral home industry. We haven't quite gotten there yet because this law, the licensing part of it for funeral directors, the professionals themselves, does not start until next year. They're still in the process of making some of the rules. But under the new law, DORA is now allowed to inspect funeral homes that are licensed, that were already licensed under state regulations, and do it on a more annual basis. This was the first inspection of Davis Mortuary in Pueblo. And reading through the documents, you learn a bit about what happened there. The inspectors walk in, they say they smell something. They notice a door that's behind a cardboard display. Apparently, the Pueblo County coroner, kind of at the time, who owns and co-operates the facility, kind of says, like, no, don't go in there. They open the door and they find these bodies decomposing. And he tells them through the course of this investigation, according to the documents, that some of the bodies may have been there for about 15 years. He says that the operators of this facility may have given next of kin fake cremains in some cases. Inspectors said during a news conference today, the director of DORA had mentioned that there may have been as many as 20 bodies inside that room that had a refrigerating unit, but they couldn't say whether or not that refrigerating unit was working. So what's remarkable is this is the first time that this building has been inspected under this new law, and during this first inspection, this is what they found.
I mean, it's hard to wrap your mind around 15 years. Imagine all of the families that have been affected during this time. What did DORA say? Are they like, okay, well, this is working. This is why we do these things now?
They're saying that, you know, this is the law working, that we're going to start to find people like this. And of course, you know, it's going to take a bit before we license professionals. You know, they still have to go through all that process, but they're saying these inspections are the law working. You know, you talk about the families, and the sad part of this, it may take some time. Until they can identify who these people are and get the records and kind of get them.
And then there's a whole nother discussion about the fact he's the coroner too.
He's the coroner, yeah. The coroner would typically investigate a scene like this. What do you do when the elected coroner is the owner of this facility? Armando Saldate from CBI said they're working through some of those legal issues right now to try to get this figured out.
Wow. Thank you, Steve. Thanks for giving us all that good information.
Of course.